Sports. That thing we all pretend to love. As we all know, most sports are named after how they are played or how points are scored. And football is no different. It's a sport primarily played with the foot and the ball. But if you're American, the football you play is a sport that doesn't use a ball and is played primarily with one's hands. Why on earth is it called football? And actual football is called soccer. Actually, I'll have you know that the feet is actually used in American football. Points can actually be scored by kicking the ball from the playing field through the raised vertical posts. Yo, go easy on the copium, bruh. Never! Now, like all violent things, football was invented in England in the 12th century, but this football was quite different from the one we play today, as it could sometimes feature entire towns and both hands and feet were used. It also usually ended up exploding into bouts of violence and just full on anarchy. This game became very popular in the 17th century, however, different places had different play styles and variations of the sport. But the most significant variation was the hands play style or the feet. When various schools and communities would organize matches against each other, this would actually be an issue. Do we use hands, feet, both? One of these many schools were the schools of rugby and Eton, with rugby preferring to play with hands and Eton preferring to play with feet. Official rules then had to be put in place to decide how this sport would be played. This led to the foundation of the Football Association in 1863, and then meetings were held which officially established and standardized the rules of football, like the size of the pitch and weight of the ball. But perhaps the most important thing to come out of these meetings was that it split the sport of football into two. There would now be rugby football, played with hands, named after the Playstyle's most vocal cheerleader, rugby, and association football, played with feet, and named after God knows what. Fun fact, the name soccer was actually used before the name football was used. Football back then was a sport more popular amongst the upper class, and they gave it the name soccer. It was only after the sport became more popular amongst the working class did the name football come to be more widely used. So how did the name soccer come about in the first place? Well, it went a little something like this. Hey there, Patters. Hey there, Tolos. Have you heard that football has officially been split in two? It's now two sports, rugby football and association football. Oh, I dare say the name association football is far too tedious. Yes, I'm inclined to agree. We should shorten it and add an ER to the end like we do all our names. That's a wonderful idea. Let's see. Association football. Let's remove the Asian and add a CER, and then we have a soccer. What do you think? I feel like the word arse in a soccer isn't going to age very well. What do you mean? Arse means donkey, does it not? Not for long, it doesn't. So what do we do? How about we take out the arse and just call it soccer? That actually sounds better. I know it does. Now, these upper class Englishmen would end up introducing football as soccer to the other English countries like Australia, New Zealand, and of course, America. In America, rugby football became more popular. They would then proceed to add their own rules to the game, and it eventually became the American version of rugby football. That's right. American football is not the American version of football, it's the American version of rugby, which is wild to me because so much time and brain cells would have been saved if Americans just called the sport American rugby. So that's why soccer stuck in America. America already had a sport called football, so soccer was seen as an already established alternative. You see, every other country that uses the word soccer either does so because of an American influence like Canada and the Philippines, or because they have their own home sport already called football, like Australia and New Zealand with Australian football, or Ireland with Gaelic football. A notable exception to this is South Africa. I have no idea why soccer stuck in South Africa. If you know why South Africans say soccer instead of football, let me know in the comments. So that's it for this video, guys. If you liked it, please share it with some friends or any American rugby fans you might know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscription to this channel means 10 years of good luck. Don't believe me? Well, check it out yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.